Pisces rising, Pluto is in your 12th house of the subconscious, of spirituality, of your innermost profound and deep change. In this video, I'm going through what that means for you as a Pisces, as well as some of the more important transits, particularly in the earlier years. And in this video, I break it all down for you. So stick with me as I go through it. Welcome, beloved souls. Welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Vivia, and this is my channel, Your Soul's Well, where I use astrology to help us navigate our shifting and exciting and sometimes turbulent world. I want to remind everybody that this is what I do for work. And if you like the content I'm creating and you want me to create more content for you, please subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and remember to hit the notification bell because I am uploading regularly and I would not want you to miss an upload. Aquarius, let's look at your chart, okay? Pisces, let me share the chart with you. So Pisces, here's Pluto's ingress into Aquarius. Here, you can see Pluto is here in your 12th house. This happened on November 19th, 2024, so just a few months ago. And it will stay there until 2044. So we have a 20-year transit. And so what this will mean for you, Pisces, is that it's reshaping this whole area of your chart, your 12th house. If you've listened to my previous video on Pluto, I'll link it in the description box. You can go there for more reference on Pluto and what you can expect Pluto to do. Pluto is the planet that deconstructs everything just to rebuild it. And the purpose of Pluto is for our evolution. It wants to break down the things that are not working in order for them to work for us. The 12th house is a highly psychological house. And with Pluto, this intense, very slow moving and slow acting planet, expect changes to your psychology and how you process past memories. Past memories might come up. It's primarily a time to do some deep reflective and psychological work that's needed to happen for your progress of self and for your evolution. So you might find yourself confronted with repressed memories, dealing with things from your past, maybe even past lives. For those of you who believe in past lives, issues from the past, from ancestral memories or your ancestral lineage might come up as well. This is the 12th house here. Some of them may be very heavy and maybe dark or, like I said, really repressed memories that need to be looked at head on. We can't sidestep it or try to look away when this transit is happening and when these issues are coming up. But just know that there's going to be this need inside of you to really uncover what's there in your unconscious, what's there through these past memories or these subconscious tendencies. Because Pluto is obsessive and rules over compulsive orders or disorders, you might find yourself very compulsively or obsessively drawn to trying to understand your own psyche, the underpinnings of your mind, and delving into your subconscious, delving into the past or these repressed memories. It's all about making the unknown known. This is going to be the journey for you. Depending on who you are, what your skill set is, or what you enjoy doing, you might want to look into the works of Carl Jung, who did massive work on the unconscious, on the collective conscious as well, the collective unconscious. But for some of you, that might resonate. For others of you, it might be seeking out a personal counselor. Some of you might be able to do this work on your own. There's going to be varying degrees. And this is a 20-year transit. So some of you might find that you're okay in the beginning, but maybe halfway through, you might need to seek out some assistance. The subconscious is, this vast cosmos, right? That's why Pisces represents this house. And there's so much there to tap into. So if at all you're feeling the need to reach out to somebody, obviously, I would encourage you to do that. Pluto, remember, is a very isolating factor, and Pluto in your 12th house might have you obsessing over it on your own and not reaching out for whatever reason. So just keep in mind that there are lots of great people out there that love to help others. That's their passion. And to remember to reach out. It might start with just reaching out to a friend at first or seeking information online. But this can be a pretty heavy transit, as I had just said, and it depends on who you are and what's coming up to be addressed. So the aim of this for you is going to be having a deeper understanding of who you are and why you're here. And it starts there with that subconscious realm of your identity. Pluto is a planet that has domain over the crises and crisis-oriented things. And when it's in a house of the subconscious, a really deeply hidden house, you might find yourself in crisis moments throughout this transit. So remember again to reach out. Remember that it's just a transit. It will pass. And as it's going through and just restructuring this part of your house of your life, really, then it's making you into a deeper and more authentic person. This is your Aquarius house. Aquarius wants our unique expression, our unique individuality within the whole of the collective. So as you reach to greater depths of self, and as you reach to greater depths of your own unique person, who that is, these moments might come up. And just again, remember that there are other people out there, professionals that deal with this, that can help you along this path. So Pluto is in this house and is dredging up all of the stuff that's there, that's hidden, that might be that coming to the surface, things that maybe were weak once may all of a sudden grow in force and have the focus or emphasis placed upon them. And the things that are hidden or undeveloped in the psyche might start to rear their ugly heads. So just be aware of that. Be aware that these things might start happening. They might bring up fears or phobias or anxieties. And again, they're all here to be looked at, because once we can deal with any of these fears, our subconscious fears or our anxieties, these phobias, once we can nip them in the bud, so to speak, they generally don't have the control over us. Remember that Pluto is all about control. And our fears, our phobias or anxieties, these things that are hidden, often repressed or depressed, tend to take control over us in sometimes very subtle or subconscious ways, or sometimes very overt ways. In the 12th house, it's going to be dealing a lot with your subconscious tendencies. So trying to deal with that fear so that you can get to the root and stand truly in your own empowerment of who you are, here to truly be in this world, and shedding off the layers of everything that you are not. Pluto is a really intense planet, and some of you, it might bring up again fear, like there might be some frightening aspects to it, or some aspects of being overwhelmed by it, or magnetizing things to you that are overwhelming, like again some crisis moments. But just remember just to take it in stride and try to work with Pluto and try to see what Pluto is presenting to you, so that you can work on it, and so that it doesn't have to be frightening or overwhelming or anxiety prone. One of the things that can happen if too much is coming up, too much information or too much intensity, is trying to control it or trying to manipulate how things turn out. Instead of trying to control the information that's being presented, it might be wise to look at it. And again, some of you, depending on what's coming up, might need the aid of a professional to really look at what is happening. There are many psychological processes and things buried within some of us, maybe all of us, that can be very traumatic. And the point here of Pluto being here in your chart is to eradicate them, to release them, so that you can blossom into the being that you are. And for some of us, that will require help. Some of you might face some self-sabotaging behavior, again, dealing with your own control, manipulation, tactics over the self. And remember that Pluto rules, he's in mythology, the god of the underworld that deals with the death and rebirth cycle. So for many people, and for many of us, it's going to be death parts of our ego for the rebirth of the parts of the true self to shine through. So Pisces is the sign of obviously the cosmos and the all oneness, but it's also has a dissolving aspect to it. And Pluto going through your 12th house of your subconscious might be really, like I said already, anxiety provoking, because it's like feeling as if you yourself or parts of you are dissolving and not being able to have something to grasp onto that is more known to you already. Just remember that whatever is being stripped away from you right now is for your ultimate good and your ultimate evolution. Pluto doesn't just come through and just deconstruct everything just because. What Pluto wants is to break down what is not working in order to put into place what will work for you, again, for your highest path, for your highest, most loving, most authentic path. In your 12th house, it's all about spirituality too. So it's deconstructing what you think your spirituality is, what you think of spirituality. Maybe for some of you, you've never explored spirituality. And now as this house is being deconstructed and reconstructed, rebirthed, maybe some of you will step into spirituality now and bring on some spirituality. So throughout these 2 decades, it will be deepening within you. And some of you may be tossing out the spirituality that you now have. And by the end of the 20-year transit, you may have embarked on a completely new journey spiritually. This is a deepening of this house. It's a deepening of these subconscious hidden houses within you and all that you do not necessarily see on the outside. So Pluto here will call you to explore these hidden realms within you and within, just going within and exploring what is there to be seen that has not been seen before. And so this 20-year transit will have you also deepening your comprehension of the universal archetypes of oneness goodness and the beauty of all life. For you as well, Pisces, some really big questions about life in the greater context of the cosmos may come up, like who you are, why you're here, and what's the point of it all, what's the purpose? Because those are very much 12th house topics that also then bleed into the first. And later when Pluto moves into your first, you'll be exploring this even more so. Right now, going into these topics and asking yourself these greater philosophical questions about your place in it all and who you are as a human will serve you greatly on your quest. Since the 12th house is a very spiritual house, when Pluto is there, and planet that signifies one of the signifiers of magnetism, be prepared for synchronicities of all sorts to happen, Pisces risings, because that's just the archetype. And I think quite a bit of exciting things may line up for you on your path as you explore your hidden realms and deepen your spirituality. So that's pretty exciting. Things like telepathy or information through your dream state might all of a sudden be on the table for you, because Pluto is a very psychic planet and the 12th house has domain over these areas. So be prepared for that. And also some people, it might scare some people. Again, go watch my Pluto video and I'll link it in the description box. Pluto deals both with our psychic ability, also with our fears. So for some people who have never experienced any sort of psychic information, which I do consider different than intuition, there's different modes of psychism, obviously. There's different forms of psychism. And for people who have never experienced this could be pretty scary. But just know that this transit through your 12th house will be awakening dormant abilities within you to perceive in ways that you never perceived before. And in terms of our own natural psychic abilities, there's nothing to be fearful of. They're inherent within us, but within many people, they're dormant. But just be prepared for this, that you could have now some profound powers that you've never had before. What's been your experience of Pluto and Aquarius so far? Comment below for me, please. I'd love to hear it. So here is Pluto moving into your 12th here, and you've got Mars here. Now, before Pluto entered your house here, the 12th house, this is the date. It's November 2nd here of 2024. Mars made its first opposition to Pluto was in Capricorn. Now, I want you to kind of reflect back and just take a notice of if anything happened then for you, or if anything was coming up. This one, relative to your 12th house, is more important. This is when Mars opposed it for the second time, when in retrograde here on January 3rd. So now Pluto is in your 12th house. Again, take a point of reflection. Reflect back on January 3rd of this year. Did anything come up for you? Was there anything subconscious for you? Was there anything happening in your daily life, in your health, with maybe some employees or being an employee, in your house of service and servicing others? Was there anything maybe confrontational, maybe some type of blow up or an impulse? If Pluto is here in your 12th house, for you, it could have been more subtle and psychological. It could have been something under the surface and may not have been something like a blow up or something very impulsive, not at least at first, because Mars is involved and it is Pluto. Maybe it did later turn out to be that, but just again, reflect back, because that can kind of give you a little bit of a hint as to what might occur this date. On April 27th of this year, 2025, Mars will oppose Pluto again. Pluto will be in your 12th house again, of the subconscious, of spirituality, of oneness, of also isolation. And Mars again here, but now in direct motion, but in its shadow, meaning it's covering old territory. So just keep that in mind. And just, I look at these planets when they retrograde back and forth as just another opportunity to do something again and perhaps do it better. Like if the first time there was a blow up or some type of impulsive action, it's a time to go back and reflect and know it's coming again and know better, do better, right? On January 21st of 2025, in your 12th house here, the Sun and Pluto were in conjunction, the very first conjunction that the Sun will make. It'll conjunct it every year here in your house of Aquarius, but this was the first back. So again, reflect back on your life. This, in a lot of ways, I think should have been very empowering for most people, or very illuminating for sure. Illuminating maybe power struggles, maybe places where you need to take your empowerment back, maybe things coming up already about all those things I addressed before, about your own subconscious tendencies, things from the past. And Pluto being present again is just the force of empowerment within you, of wanting to get more empowerment through assessing your deeply psychological and spiritual nature. On March 30th of 2025, Neptune will ingress Aries right here in your second house. So this is the Aries point, right? So point of creation. So this is really impactful for us all, for the collective and for each individual. First, Neptune will be here, and then later Saturn will be here. Now, and of course, the Sun would have gone through on March 20th, spring equinox, and that's when the Sun here at the 0 Aries point. So first the sun is coming and setting it all off, and then Neptune moves into your second house. So Neptune will be there for a while. Neptune is the planet of dreaming and mysticism and divine intervention. And it's helping you here in your second house of resources and how you resource yourself and how you esteem yourself. It's how you value yourself and how you perceive yourself through the lens of your own self-worth. What I see here with Pluto being here in your 12th and Neptune being here in your second, because they're in sextile to one another, so they're helping each other out in a harmonious way. They're in conversation, let's say, in a harmonious way. But Neptune likes to dissolve. So it's dissolving your sense of self and your sense even of self-worth, but also bringing a new sense that deals with more of you being a spiritual being in context to your spirituality, relating to Pluto going through this house, your 12th house of spirituality. The second house is also how we make our own money and how we resource ourselves. So for some of you, some of the avenues of money that you make may suddenly disappear with Neptune going through your second house. But also there might be avenues for some of you to make money through spiritual endeavors. That's a huge broad field, I know, but for each individual, it will show up differently. I can't look at your chart, so I'm just giving you generalities. So that's something that might come about in that transit. So pay attention to that. That's something to watch for. On May 25th of 2025, Saturn will ingress Aries again at that 0 point, and they're here pretty much in a conjunction, not an exact, but still. Then, so first the sun goes through, and then Neptune, and then Saturn. Now Saturn likes to bring structure to wherever it is. It always constricts as well. It's really close to Neptune, so there's going to be a bit of a dissolving element here being applied. Saturn is still going to be there, giving some structure here to this house. So for some of you, let's say, who might end up leaving jobs or walking away from jobs or work that you normally get income from, this work might suddenly the income just not be as readily available when Saturn moves in here. I think you're going to be able to put more into a container for how to go about creating your own avenues of wealth through your own resources here in your second house. On June 10th of 2025, Jupiter is going to ingress Cancer. So that's here in your 5th house. And if you look back and I'll link it here as well as in the description box, you can go and listen to Jupiter in your 5th house and the exaltation to it in the nodal video I did. Jupiter is great for all of us. It's exalted here in Cancer, so that means it's performing at its best. It can really do its job to bring expansion and awareness and optimism and joy and a sense of faith, and also a sense of too, like the divine, partly like Neptune and Pluto, these divine interventions and divinity coming and giving us a helping hand. And it's here this Jupiter is here in your 5th house. So that's your joy, that's your creativity, that's your heart and how you live and the things that you produce. It could be children, it could be creative endeavors, it could be projects, it could be things that also like adventure and fun and romance and dating are all in this house. So you're going to have a really nice year, Jupiter being in this house of yours, while also helping your first house here where the node is at. On July 7th of 2025, Uranus is going to ingress Gemini. So Uranus will be here in your 4th house, a foundation, a family, of home, of roots, while Pluto is here in one of your ancestral houses from the past and the subconscious. These are both highly subconscious houses. So Uranus is going to go through. It'll be there for a while. It's a slow moving planet as well. And it too reconstructs in its own way. It does it often very shockingly or abruptly. And often we feel we are blindsided by Uranus and its movement. So Uranus in this 4th house of yours is going to be going through and just changing things up. But it's in harmony here in a trine, Pluto and Uranus, to one another. So they're actually talking to one another and cooperating. So look at it like your 4th house of foundation and of home, of your roots, of your family, of family secrets, if there are any, and the 12th house too of your memories that might be repressed or things from childhood and your greater spirituality and the greater context of your awareness of the oneness of all of life. They are in harmony with one another, speaking with one another. So this is a great time to take great use of this, to use this energy for your advantage, to really reconstruct your belief system, get to the foundation and core of your roots of who you are, and perhaps anything that has happened in your family that needs to be addressed. Around August 12th of 2025, Uranus and Pluto will be in a trine. It's still a degree away, but this is close enough. And just watch, keep a note, keep a journal. I tell my clients this all my time. You might all be really sick of me saying it, but there's nothing more that can help you along the path, especially if you like to journal and if you like to record things. things, to take note of the dates that things happened so that you can reflect back on this date, because Uranus and Pluto both move slow. They're both really powerful planets. So perhaps this is when you might get sudden insights because they're so connected, and Pluto is here in your 12th house of the subconscious, of downloads, of memory, and of dreams, maybe things coming through your dreams, just sudden and instant flashes of information that deal with family and deal with your roots and deal with your ancestry and deal with your own complex subconscious mind. So be on the watch for that, beloved. On September 1st, Saturn will retrograde back into Aries. So then it'll spend time here until February of 2026 in your first house. So again, whatever structure was needed there, whatever you needed to look at, maybe some also restriction of self, or maybe things in this area of your chart being restricted, because where Saturn is, there's going to be restriction. But also too, I look at this as being gentle with yourself, definitely being gentle with yourself, understanding that all of us are doing the best that we can in every moment with the information that we have. And you're going through profound, deep and psychological changes right now, beloved. So just be gentle, be graceful with yourself, be forgiving and compassionate towards yourself. As a Pisces rising, as a Pisces sun or moon, or you're going to be very loving and forgiving of others generally, but now you need to apply that to yourself. And that's what I see primarily here with Saturn going back, like being able to go back into this house again and reflect and bring the necessary components of stability to your own sense of self and who you are, so you can move forward on your best path of evolution for your growth, the growth of your soul. On July 18th, 2026, there will be, I find this to be an auspicious day because there's going to be 4 planets at 4 degrees. Pluto will be here in Aquarius at 4 degrees. Neptune in your 2nd house will be here in Aries at 4 degrees. Uranus will be in your 4th house at 4 degrees. And Jupiter will be here at 4 degrees of Leo. So these planets here are all sextiling one another. Pluto is sextiling Neptune, which is in turn sextiling Uranus. And of course, there's this trine here between Pluto and Uranus. And then Uranus is sextiling Jupiter, and Neptune and Pluto are trining one another. So that's a lot of benevolent, harmonious energy flowing between all these planets. And of course, there is an opposition here between Pluto and Jupiter in your 6th house. So the 6th house Jupiter is going to be magnifying something, maybe to do with your health habits, your daily habits, work habits, maybe just bringing something to light that needs to be addressed and looked at through the lens of Pluto. And maybe Pluto is showing you something that no longer works for you. Jupiter is magnifying it that you'll need to address. But here, these planets that are all speaking here, in this bucket formation, are all happening in your 2nd, your 4th, your 6th house. So daily work, your money, your foundation, and your 12th house are all being affected by that. So maybe some type of new work too coming through that you can do on a daily basis that will help you here generate income, improve your self-worth, build your foundation, and help you access to information, like again, about your psyche and yourself. So on this day, July 26, 2026, the nodes shift into your 12th house. The North Node will be in your 12th house of Aquarius, where it will be with Pluto for a year and a half. So then it's going to be bringing more energy here for you around your subconscious, the spiritual issues that you are facing. And then the South Node will be here in your 6th house. And again, energy being directed towards your 6th house of daily habits and health habits, work habits, your just daily living. One other thing that I want to point out for you is that throughout 2026 and 2028, Uranus here in your 4th house here and Pluto in your 12th house will be in a trine with one another. So again, benevolent opportunity over a few years for you here to it's just incoming information that I see for you, just complete downloads of information and really opening up and trusting your intuition. I think that's going to be very, very necessary for you with this Pluto here and this Uranus here. So just to recap some of that information for you, beloved, this really is a time of such deep and profound transformation for you. And it's not a time to be ignored, and it's not a time to ignore the subconscious or the things that are coming up. And it's not a time to ignore the fears or the phobia or the obsessions. It's really a time to address them, to address the things that are all being brought up to the surface. Remember that your phobias and your fears might be triggered, but remember that there's help out there if you need it, and to reach out for help. Remember that your psychism, your intuition, your dreams are all really, really being magnified right now, really expanding, especially in these first few years. I think too, when the node gets in there and it goes through that house for you, it's going to really expand that house for you and expand the potential. So just tap into it. There's going to be many of you who just download such amazing work for yourselves, for your families, for the planet. Many of you, because this is the 12th house and and your fourth house is so connected right now. You are ending generational trauma and generational karma. And when I say that, some of you know right away that's you. So follow that inkling, trust it, go with it, and do the work that is being presented for you so that you again can rise to your highest self. This might be a very turbulent journey for some of you who have never really explored the depths of your own subconscious, unconscious tendencies, never looked at beliefs, never looked at spirituality, never looked at your family lineage or trauma, never believed in psychism or intuition. So there's that warning there, but just take it in stride, do what you can every day. And in terms of your dreams, some of your dreams might turn out to be nightmares or again start to expose phobias. So just be on the watch out for that. And again, reach out for help if you need it. Pluto is isolating. So that's one thing you have to watch for, especially in the 12th house, because the 12th house is already isolated. So just, know that there's help out there and that just it requires you reaching out to get help, informing other people of what you're going through in order to get the assistance that you need. Pluto in the 12th house, Pluto has to deal with our shadow wherever it is. It deals with our subconscious and the shadow elements of self that have to come up and be addressed. But especially in your 12th house, it deals with the shadow element of self that has to be addressed. So remember not to run away. You can't run away from your shadow. Have you ever seen that video of that little girl? She's so cute. She's running away from her shadow. When I think of Pluto, I think of that video. You can't run away from your shadow. You cannot run away from your subconscious tendencies. You can't run away from the unconscious. You can't run away from your family lineage. You can't run away from your trauma. You can't run away from your pain. You cannot run away from your phobias. You can't run away. You can only deal with what's coming up. And that's how I would recommend dealing with Pluto, is facing Pluto as much as you can, facing what Pluto is bringing to you rather as much as you can in order to address what needs to be addressed for your health, for your longevity, for your evolution. Because remember, Pluto only wants to eradicate what no longer works for you and what needs to be cleared out of the way so that your true authentic self can rise and shine. During this time, to avoid that isolation, you might want to engage in spiritual practices with other people, spiritual communities, finding people who resonate or people who can open you up to spirituality. Perhaps you've never have encountered this before. Some of you might want to look into past life regression therapy. That might be very useful for some of you, and some of you might want to look into things like hypnosis or some type of psychology. That might not apply for all of you, or it might apply for some of you some of the time. Another thing that comes up whenever I look at the 12th house, 8th house, or 4th house with these planets going through is family constellation work and just working with a therapist in general. But family constellation work is some of the most powerful work on the planet as far as I'm concerned. I've done it. I love it, and it's helped me a lot. It's helped a lot of people I know. So I think for some of you, you might want to look into that, and you may want to address some of the patterns from family or ancestry in that way. All in all, I think this is going to be so great for so many Pisceans out there. It's going to be heightened imagination and creativity and so much coming through for you if you can just tap into that and not be afraid of it and just use it for the higher benefit of all. Just allowing that to flow through you, allowing yourself to be as creative as you've ever, perhaps never even could imagine how creative you could be. And just a real opportunity just to expand what you know about spirituality and who you are as a spiritual being in this world. There is this as well that is being offered to you during this transit, and I would love to see all of you do it, as many as possible, because I think it's going to be just fabulous for you. Okay, Pisces, thank you very much for listening. If you like my work, please subscribe to my channel, like my video, and remember to hit the notification bell because I am uploading regularly and I don't want you to miss important information about your sign. Also, if you enjoyed this video and you have not yet watched your video for the Noble Shift, make sure to watch it here. Stay blessed, beloved Pisces.